Most passed by without a second glance. Just another relic of what once was. But one didn't. One person stood still, looked past the decay, and saw not ruin, but redemption. A designer, not of trends, but of truths. Someone who wasn't chasing fame or fortune, but something far rarer in this world: honesty. They didn't bring blueprints first. They brought questions. What would it mean to build without waste? To create beauty without harm? To honor the past while protecting the future? They listened to the wind between the beams, to the creak of old wood, to the silence that begged not to be replaced, but respected. And from that silence they began, not by buying more, but by using less, not by tearing down, but by mending, restoring, reimagining. No dumpsters, no shortcuts, just hands and time and purpose. What others called debris, they called material. What others would discard, they chose to hold and transform. Because to them, zero waste wasn't a rule. It was a kind of reverence, a belief that nothing, no piece of wood, no forgotten hinge, no broken shard of glass, was ever truly without worth. In Marlow Ridge, that old barn didn't vanish. It became something new, not in defiance of time, but in harmony with it. And through one person's vision, a forgotten frame became a living truth. That beauty, when rooted in purpose, never fades. The barndominium didn't rise in a rush. It unfolded gently, like something remembering itself. Each wall stood with quiet dignity, built not from fresh-cut ambition, but from wood that had already lived a lifetime, reclaimed, restored, respected. Every plank remembers a story, of rain, of seasons, of hands that once shaped it for a different life. Now it shelters new ones, and still it breathes. The floors beneath your feet were once rafters in someone else's sky. Now they carry the weight of a home that chose meaning over polish. There is no excess here, only space, room for breath, not clutter. Open floor plans stretch wide, not to feel empty, but to feel free. Walls don't close you in. They hold you, gently, and leave space for the moments that matter to echo. And the windows, the windows. They don't just let light in. They let you see, not from behind a curtain, but in communion. They frame the world outside not as something separate, but as something sacred. They watch the sunrise, the shift of seasons, the silent drift of clouds, without intruding, without demanding, and above it all, the house listens to the wind, to the warmth, to the rhythm of the day. Passive design, not forced, but flowing, letting the sun and wind do what they've always done, without being asked. Because silence, when welcomed, becomes a kind of music. This home plays it softly, a harmony of wood, light, air, and restraint. And in that restraint, a kind of peace that modern life forgot how to make room for. Here, waste doesn't exist. It transforms. Rain doesn't just fall and vanish. It's gathered quietly, patiently, held in waiting, until it becomes water for the hands that plant, for the soil that listens, for the life that grows. Scraps don't head for the bin. They return to the earth. Banana peels, eggshells, coffee grounds, the so-called leftovers of living, become nourishment. Compost, rich and dark. A slow, quiet alchemy. Decay, turned into bloom. Even the broken here finds purpose. A cracked window becomes a tabletop. Rusty hinges cradle cabinet doors. Old pallets turn into chairs with stories carved in their grain. Nothing is tossed. Everything is given a second chance. Because this home isn't afraid of imperfection. It welcomes it. It trusts that beauty isn't found in the flawless, but in the faithful act of renewal. Solar panels hum silently above, gathering light not with urgency, but with grace. Energy is drawn gently from the sky, not taken but borrowed. Every system here speaks the same quiet truth. You don't have to throw something away just because it's changed. Here, sustainability isn't a checklist. It's a rhythm, a respect, a remembering that what we discard often still carries value, that healing begins when we stop calling things and people useless. This barndominium stands not as proof of perfection, but as a living reminder that even the broken can be made beautiful, not in spite of what they were, but because of it. What if the walls of your home didn't just shelter you, but healed the planet? What if a window wasn't just a view, but a way for the sun to warm your soul without taking more than it gives? What if your kitchen didn't throw scraps away, but turned them into new life beneath your garden? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because it's a simple way to show your love for these incredible designs. What if waste simply didn't exist? We've spent decades building higher, wider, faster. But somewhere along the way, we forgot how to live simply. We forgot how to build with love, with care, with the earth, not against it. This is the story of a home. Not just any home. A barndominium, yes, part barn, part dwelling. But this one was shaped by something deeper. Not just by hands and blueprints, but by intention. Where nothing is too much, and nothing goes to waste. A space where stillness isn't empty, it's sacred. Where every beam, every brick carries a past, and every corner whispers possibility. This is zero-waste minimalism. Not as a trend, not as an aesthetic, but as a quiet rebellion, a choice, a return to what we knew all along, that we don't need more, to finally feel enough. So come with us. Step inside, not just into a house, but into a way of being, a way that just might heal more than the land it stands on. Maybe it could heal us too. We share new content regularly to help you create spaces you love, so don't forget to subscribe. We are drowning in the very things we once thought we needed. Drawers full of forgotten gadgets, closets stuffed with clothes still bearing their tags, shelves lined with objects meant to impress, not to serve. We called it success. We called it comfort. But it was something else. A slow, quiet suffocation. We built bigger homes, yet filled them with more noise, more plastic, more packaging, more emptiness. Somewhere along the way, the house became showroom, a place to store things we didn't love, bought with time we didn't have, to impress people who never stayed. And in that pursuit of more, of faster, of new, we forgot the one thing that mattered most: balance. The balance between taking and giving, between using and preserving, between building and belonging. Today, the land groans beneath what we throw away. Mountains of waste rise where trees once stood. Our homes may stand tall, but what do they stand for? This isn't a judgment. It's a reckoning. If you found this video inspiring, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support means to me, and it helps keep the design ideas coming your way. A pause, a breath, a moment to look around and ask, is this really what we dreamed of when we said home? Because somewhere, in the noise and clutter, a quiet resistance is rising. Not loud, not trendy, but thoughtful, intentional. A new kind of home. One that doesn't feed the landfill, but feeds the soul. This is where the story begins. Not with what we build, but with what we're willing to leave behind. And then, from the bones of old barns, from timber that had seen storms and seasons, from nails once driven by calloused hands, came a new form. Not a mansion, not a monument, but something quieter, simpler, truer. A barndominium, half barn, half home, all soul. It wasn't born in a boardroom. It didn't arrive with glossy brochures or slogans. It emerged like breath from the land itself. If you love this type of look, hit that subscribe button to help us create more videos. And let us know in the comments what you'd love to see in future videos. A structure that whispered, not shouted. That stood not to dominate the earth beneath it, but to remember it. Because this story isn't about architecture. It's not about floor plans or roof lines. It's about coming back. Back to the wisdom of old things. Back to the honesty of open spaces.